Rise and Shine 6:01. Jason Hackett, Alicia Lewis here with you to kick off this Wednesday. Hope you got enough sleep last night. I know it was a disappointing night for a lot of Timberwolves fans.
It was very disappointing, but it's game one. There's plenty to go. I feel like that's why the Wolves weren't too nervous in their press conference. We're going to get to the results of that game in a minute, but first let's get outside. It's bike to school day, John, and it couldn't be better.
Oh, it's great. I mean, the weather's been insane. Yesterday, hottest day of the year. Today, a little relief, but it's not that cold out here. Temperatures in the middle 50s for most of us. It is going to be cooling down here today and tomorrow. Spotty shower to the north Friday, and I mean spotty. I don't think we're going to see it here in the Twin Cities. I got excited for a 20% chance of a shower. Now it's down to 5%. So again, temperatures rebound again, but the next rebound is a leg higher. We're going well into the 80s starting Mother's Day. So we're still in the actual middle 50s here from some cloud cover, which rare cloud cover, I should say. But you can clearly see 35 in Bemidji, 37 in Grand Rapids. It is cooling to the north quite a bit. Today, temperatures still at 71. A great day, 12 degrees cooler than yesterday with northeast winds. A little breezy out there, but I think it feels really nice at 15 miles per hour. Cece, you said a crash just cleared.
Yeah, it did. Actually, a couple minutes ago. Good morning. It cleared in Inver Grove Heights, 494 westbound, right here near Piper Road. You see a few cars out there now. It was blocking the left shoulder here, but as you head toward Dodd Road now, 35E in this area, you'll be A-okay. Taking a look here at the big map, things are pretty quiet still at 6:02. Crashes are clearing pretty quickly this morning, which is a good thing for sure. So you won't have to add any extra time to your commute at this point this morning, but you may have to add some extra time around 8 o'clock this morning, especially if you're up in Ramsey. There's going to be some work on Highway 10. I'll let you know more details just after 6:15.
All right, Cece, thank you very much. Before we get to our top story here, we have to tell you about some breaking news just into the newsroom.
Yeah, we just learned a firefighter is in the hospital after a fire overnight in Minneapolis. According to the fire chief, the fire started just after 12:30 this morning at the former bar and music venue Whiskey Junction on Cedar Avenue. That's right next to the music venue, the Caboose. Now, when crews arrived, the fire spread all the way to the roof, which they deemed unstable. The firefighter was treated for possible overexertion and is at the hospital this morning for evaluation. No one else was hurt, and there's no word yet on what caused the fire. Let's get to a developing story that the entire world is watching right now. You're looking at a live picture from the Vatican. Cardinals from around the world are just hours away from locking the doors of the Sistine Chapel to start the papal conclave.
Michelle Beck is live at the Cathedral of St. Paul as the world waits for the new pope to be elected. Good morning, Michelle.
Hey, right now, the Cathedral of St. Paul has a prayer online for parishioners to say together. It's to support that momentous decision about the next pope. And the process to get there just started. I watched a couple hours ago the Mass for the Pope's election at St. Peter's Basilica. More than 130 cardinals were there, and they'll soon host their first vote, all behind locked doors. They'll vote 4 times a day as they aim for a 2/3 majority. The ballots could be divided over whether the church expands Francis-era progressive reforms. Some conservative cardinals have suggested otherwise.
Are we going to have a pope who gets up and says, Francis was a disaster, we need to go back to the old church? I don't think that's going to happen.
We also know that this conclave will be the largest in the history of the church. Also that the majority of the cardinals represented here are novices, meaning they have never participated in this process before. Back to you.
All right, Michelle Beck reporting live for us. Appreciate it this morning. Let's get to some other big news this morning. A big change to air travel. 20 years in the making is finally now in effect.
Yeah, starting this morning, you will need a gold star on your driver's license in order to go through airport security or enter federal buildings. Now, there are other forms of ID that you could use, but as Audrey explains, this is going to cause some slowdowns potentially at the airport.
Yeah, Jason, Alicia, that's right. We are approaching Terminal 2 right now on the little escalator where usually I'm fumbling for my documents to make sure that I can get onto my flight and through security quickly. Now, today was supposed to be the day that you needed a real ID in order to board your flight hassle-free. But as federal officials have confirmed in the last 24 hours, If you don't have a real ID, you are still going to be allowed on your flight. They say that if you don't have a real ID, a current passport, or one of those federally recognized documents, you're simply going to be subjected to some additional security screening. So if you fall into that camp, you're going to want to make sure you're planning some extra time for your travels and as you get to the airport to get through security. Now, that should be a relief. A big sigh of relief from the 58% of Minnesotans who do not currently have a real ID. Fewer than half of Minnesotans have a real ID. They are encouraging people to go out and get one, really to become compliant with a law that's been on the books for about 2 decades at this point.
This is about enforcing the law that's been on the books for 20 years, and this law is critical to the safety and the security of our skies.
And back out here live as I come in for a landing. Say you want to go out and get your real ID and you want to apply for it today. Exactly how long is it going to take before you have that document in hand? Well, I'm going to break that down coming up in about 30 minutes, but for now, I will send it back to you, Jason and Alicia.